In July of 2012, a Walmart store manager received an urgent phone call from his corporate headquarters. Walmart executive Gary Darnell had called the manager to tell him his store had been selected for a new pilot program and he just needed some information. CNN Money on August 8, 2012 explains, within minutes, the store manager gave Darnell the employee payroll, shift schedule, and tons of private information. The only problem is there was no pilot program and Darnell has no recollection making this phone call. Which makes sense, because the phone call actually came from a casino in Las Vegas and Darnell was actually Shane McDougall, a security researcher and competitor at the American Social Engineering Contest. The Daily Dot, September 4th, 2014 explains, the contest is a part of the annual DEF CON hacking convention held in Las Vegas, in which competitors perform routine security breaches on Fortune 500 companies, but only using methods of social engineering, a technique used to get around security systems to obtain information by simply exploiting a vulnerability in the human guarding the information. So, for example, instead of trying to crack a password by installing some kind of virus, a social engineer would just call the tech support agent, convince them to reset the password, and give it to them. Social Engineering Inc. on April 28, 2014 explains, last year alone, social engineering attacks accounted for 1.8 million victims in healthcare fraud, 2.4 million victims in email fraud, and over 37 million in phone call fraud. But as EM Associates' 2014 study concerningly notes, more than half the employees in this country still receive little to no security awareness training each year. So, to not only shed light into the fastest growing security threat in corporate America, but also provide a powerful lesson in this new era of privacy. We'll first explore what exactly social engineering is, then see an attack in action, before finally engineering some implications to what author and social engineer Chris Hagney dubs the art of human hacking. Perhaps the most iconic example of a social engineer is depicted in Steven Spielberg's 2002 film Catch Me If You Can, a retelling of 1960s con man Frank Abagnale Jr.'s elaborate masquerade of check fraud. So, to further understand how social engineering, or SE, has evolved since Abagnale's days, let's cover some bases. First, who exactly are these social engineers? Alternative Network on July 28, 2014 explains, the world of social engineering draws a maraud of people, from professional spies to information brokers to hacktivists, which is hackers plus activists, often disgruntled employees. But above all, SEs hide in plain sight, disguised as the friendly janitor, the curious customer, or in McDougall's Walmart story, the false authority. So, with this in mind, what exactly does an attack look like? In their February 18, 2015 report, Hacking the Human Operating System, Intel Security breaks down an attack in 4 steps. Step 1, research. SEs collect research from company websites, employees' social media profiles, any public information that can help them engineer an attack. Step 2, targeting. This is where the SE targets the employee they want to manipulate into giving them information, often becoming familiar with the target's hobbies, likes, or dislikes. Step 3, the approach. Now this is where the SE separates the employee from the information they need, maybe using a fake email, a telephone call, but often a face-to-face interaction. Step 4, the encounter. This is where the employee reacts to the attack, either revealing vital information or deflecting the social engineer altogether. McDougall's attack on that Walmart store manager reinforces the notion there's no security patch for human error. In fact, the Cyber Intelligence Index reports last year alone, 95% of company security breaches were the result of a human error. To further explore the methods used by social engineers, we will first dissect an attack, and then I'll perform a little one of my own. First, in the summer of 2013, a social engineer known only as the Ghost began collecting research from a local company to perform a routine security breach. Now, after researching for a month, he identified his target, Amanda, the company receptionist. So during the targeting phase, the Ghost scoured Amanda's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, making note of her love for the show Dexter, and status as a single mother. Eventually, the approach phase presented itself because the company was hiring. So the ghost submitted a fake resume and eventually earned a job interview. Now, on the day of the interview, get this, he posed as a down-on-his-luck single father who arrived 5 minutes late after rushing to drop his kids off. With Amanda's attention, the encounter began. A friendly conversation over the show Dexter quickly transitioned to a sympathetic conversation about being a fellow single parent. With Amanda more comfortable, the ghost realized he forgot to print his resume, asked his new Dexter buddy if he could print it from her company computer using his USB. She agreed. And just like that, the ghost installed an infected file labeled resume.pdf, granting him access to the company network from his laptop back at his apartment. Fascinatingly enough, the strategies used by the ghost in this story walk a fine line of social engineering and common devices we could all use. For instance, is Andy Flores in the audience? There she is. Awesome. Andy, so in between these performances, I did a quick scroll through your Facebook and social media, get some basic information about you. Now, I know you're originally from San Antonio, Texas, and you went out to Arizona State to do your undergrad. You're now back in Austin. Your favorite TV shows are Broad City or Key and Peele. You love comedians like Ralphie Hardesty. You have a mother named Diana and a sister named Alexandra. And your birthday is October 14th. So, just as the ghost used Dexter and Amanda's status as a single parent, I could use any of that information. Engineer a scenario where I run into you outside of a coffee shop you might like, maybe the one in San Antonio called the Barrio Barista. Strike up a conversation and get to know you more. And while I don't plan on doing anything malicious, a social engineer could have far different intentions. And that's the thing. Social engineering takes basic, public, often information we don't know is out there, weaponizes it, and uses it to infiltrate corporate security, or in me and Andy's sense, her personal privacy. The aforementioned Daily Dot explains, apart from top tech and security companies attending the American Social Engineering Contest, the FBI, NSA, and Department of Defense all attend this contest to analyze the latest strategies being used. The pervasive and threatening use of social engineering warrants two implications: a paradigm shift in security and the weaponization of social media. First, the methods used by social engineers has fueled a paradigm shift within the security industry. Because for decades, security has operated under this mentality that we have to build walls, tall enough and thick enough. But as CSO Online, January 5th, 2015 notes, social engineering forces us to start looking inside the walls for the breach. As a result, Tech Target on March 5th, 2014 explains, companies have literally begun developing new training methods to teach employees on how to recognize and combat socially engineered attacks. Michelle Fincher, Chief Security Researcher, tells Social Engineering Inc. on April 28, 2014, we are witnessing a culture shift. One that will require security to be round the clock, yes, but more importantly, force an employee to start thinking in an entirely different way. Because when it comes to social engineering in the workplace, the only thing worse than no security is a false sense of security. But second, social engineering has led to the weaponization of social media and social information in our daily lives. Tech Target on March 5th, 2014 explains, websites like Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook are a social engineer's dream come true, allowing them to harvest anything from job histories to emotionally compromising posts. As a result, Wall Street Journal on May 11th, 2014 explains, by the end of 2015, over 60% of companies will have a program in place to monitor their employees' social media, a dramatic increase from just 10% in 2012. And while most will claim it's all about good PR, in actuality, it may be one of the few ways to truly reduce a socially engineered attack. We've all become blind to the friendly conversation at the bus stop or the drunk conversation we have with strangers at a bar. Where are you from? Where you work? Casual questions we write off as small chat, but social engineers use as information to be taken advantage of. As these attacks continue to rise, we will each have to ask, are you willing to ensure corporate security at the expense of your social identity? Today, we explored the methods used by social engineers, hopefully creeped out Andy. You can reach her at ondelightAndy@gmail.com. hope you got some really cool kind of trinkets or stuff from that yard sale you went to this morning at 9. And finally, engineered some implications. In his book, Ghosts in the Wires, FBI's most wanted social engineer Kevin Mitnick explains it is the most effective communicators that make the best social engineers. So in an activity that prides itself on being some of the most effective communicators, most of the people in this room are the prime demographic. You've already got your skill set. So what's next?